Welcome back to CAD's tutorials on Revit Architecture 2012. When we last left off, we were just getting started with our model. We've started creating a bathroom. This will be a bedroom. And we added a door. So let's go ahead and continue. Let's work on this restroom over here. Now, if it's not a wall, door, window, column, roof, these are kind of your main families or components. I'm sorry. It's going to be a component, which is right here. Place a component. Now, if you notice this drop down, you can also model a component in place, which we'll get to later. But what we want to do is place a component, which is the default button up here. So hit that button, and I usually turn off tag on placement because what we're going to insert, I don't have any plumbing tags, so it's going to ask you. We'll just leave it on just for now, just to show you. And let's come down to this drop down, and we're going to put in a tub. And right here it's going to ask me, I guess it didn't ask me. Usually it'll ask you if you want to load a tag, since you don't have any loaded, which I don't want to load a tag. So it's going to place a tub right there. And if you'll notice this little deal right here, I'm in thin line. Yours is probably going to look like this. If I hit that, thin lines, or TH is my shortcut that I created for thin lines, you can see it just kind of clears things up a little bit. If I wanted to align this tub with this wall, that looks like a thick line. It's actually two lines. So if you go to thin lines, it just makes everything thinner and a little clearer to see. And this is one of the best tools in Revit I'm about to show you. It's under the Modify tab, and it's this first one right here under Modify. It's the Align tool. It's AL by default shortcut key. I use it so much I change it to AA just because it's easier to hit than going across the keyboard. But I want this edge of the tub to be right here on this wall. So I'm going to go to the Align tool, and you can see on my cursor it's got the little double box, kind of looks like the Align tool. And you can see the purple line showing up in the middle of the wall. I want this edge of the wall, so whenever you can't pick something by hovering over it, always hit the tab key, and that will cycle. You can see the purple line moving as I hit the tab key. So I want to align the tub to that part of the wall. So you can see it's highlighted in purple. I'll select it, it'll turn blue with a little dash line. Then I'll select this line, and that will align those two. And I can even lock it, and if I was to lock that, this would be attached to that. Whenever this wall moved, this tub would go with it. I'm not going to do that right now, but just to know what that lock means. And then again here, I'm going to align the wall to this, so this will be the opposite. I'm going to pick the tub first, and then I'm actually going to tab and then move this wall to the tub. So there you go, we got a tub in there. Once again, go to the Home tab, load a component, hit your type selector, and we're going to put in a toilet, which is right there. Now another thing is, if you're hovering over a wall, obviously the toilet's not going to go perpendicular to the tub, it's going to go perpendicular to the wall. So if you hit your space bar, it'll rotate. Now right there it's rotating off of this hatch line right here, because I was hovering closest to that. So you just got to be careful of what you're going close to, but if you hit your space bar, it's just going to rotate 90 degrees. And we're going to go ahead and put that. I'm just going to drop the toilet in there right now. And I can even say, I can grab this temporary dimension that's going to the middle, and I can just click on it once and it'll cycle through. Now it's grabbing the edge of the wall, and I want 2 inches here. Oops, I did 2 feet, my bad. 2 inches. There you go. Now the toilet's 2 inches off the wall. Next thing we're going to need is a vanity. So we'll come down to our vanity. Now all this stuff just happens to be loaded when we go into I'll put some different doors in later in a second, and then we will load some components. I think we touched on how to load components earlier, but I'll go over it again. I'm going to put my vanity in the corner. Now one thing I do want to do is I want to center my toilet in between my vanity. And I could do it with temporary dimensions and pull the dimension over, which is good, but sometimes it's easier just to go ahead and dimension to it. And then this little equals right here, this will make these two spaces, whatever you dimension, equal. So if I move that, you can notice it moves the toilet down, makes these equal. And then what I can do is delete that, and since that is a constraint, I can delete the dimension and leave the constraint there to have it always be equal, but I'm just going to unconstrain I don't like to constrain my sketches too much or my models too much, because it uses resources and slows down the model. Now something this small, you would never notice it, but it's good habit. Only lock things that need to be locked. Don't go crazy with it. So there's our vanity, and you'll notice I'm in the middle of some command. I don't know what it is, so I'm just gonna hit the escape key a couple times, and there we go, we're out of it. That'll happen in Revit sometimes. You'll be in a command without realizing it. Now our vanity needs a countertop, so let's go right there, vanity countertop. And this was a 48-inch counter, and you'll notice this length of this vanity is already 48 inches, so we don't have to change it. But again, we can hit the space bar and set it right there. And you'll notice this particular vanity already has a hole cut out for the sink. If we didn't, when we put a 3D sink in, the countertop would cut through the sink and you'd see the countertop. So you have to put that hole in. It's already loaded in this one. And these are all families. I mean, when you start creating families, you can create a million different ways. They're very powerful. But we'll get into that later. Let's just go ahead and drop a lav in there. Let's see. I know I have one loaded. I just can't. There it is, sink. Okay, it's not a lavatory, it's a sink. And again, space bar is going to turn it. And you can see that purple line come up when you know you're centered. And then I'm just going to eyeball it for now. There you go. There's your sink. Go ahead and hit save. I tend to save often just in case Revit, it's pretty stable, but you know, every once in a while it will crash, just like any other program. I just hate to lose my work, so I make it a good habit to save often. And there you go. Not only do you have a bathroom, but you've got a 3D bathroom that you can easily show your client. If you want to put materials on there, you could. Now I don't have any materials, so it's not really going to show anything, but you could put tile on the walls, on the floor. You know, you can kind of see the materials right there. My trim's a different color. Got a wood grain pattern on the door. Got my brick on the outside. So you can very easily show your client, hey look, here's what your restroom's going to look like. So we'll go ahead and put that back to hidden line. And just like that, we have a restroom. Now we need a door to get into the restroom. So once again, we're going to load a door, or we're going to put in a door, I should say, and we're just going to do a single flush door, 36 by 84. And I'm going to hit the space bar again with the doors. Space bar flips your swing. If I'm on the outside of the wall, it's on the outside. You just move your cursor. I don't know if you can see that. Cursor's on the right side of the wall. That's where the door is. And move it to the other side. That's where the door goes. And then space bar, of course, flips it. So there's my door. Now one thing you'll notice, and this will happen a lot, my door tags are not numbered correctly. And there's a bunch of different ways to do door tags. But I'm going to go ahead and show you just a couple of them right now. Of course you can pick the door and go into its properties, and there's the mark. I can change that. If I change that to 2, there it is. So that's one way. Another way to renumber, and just hit undo a few times, I can actually select a tag and type in 2. That's another way to do it. And if you'll notice right there, change the mark to 2. And then there is a renumber tool. It's called an add-in. It doesn't come with Revit, but you can search the web and you can actually number elements like you do in AutoCAD architecture. Tell it what increment you want and just pick all the different elements, and it'll renumber that way also. So a lot of good add-ins you can find on the internet for Revit. So there's how you would renumber a door. Now let me just go ahead and take these off. And what I'm going to do is, if you select any component and right click, you've got create similar, and that will do what it says. It will create similar. And I like that command so much, I created a shortcut key for it, CS. So I will just select that door, type in CS, and I can put another door over here. And I'm actually going to put it up here on purpose. And I meant to turn the tag off, so let's delete that tag to show you one other thing. And before I do that, let me tag them first. We'll do the different way here. Different ways to tag a door. You can tag it on placement as we've been doing. You can tag by category. It automatically knows that that's a door category, so I can click each door and tag it. Or I'm going to delete those tags. This is a really cool tag all. Really cool tool. When you hit tag all, you notice that that's blacked out. You can hold down the control button and you can pick other things to tag. Room tags, and I don't have any of this other stuff in the model, so it's not really going to do anything, but I can tag whatever I want. Let's escape that. I'm going to leave it on door. You know, if you single click, it'll just go around. I want to leave it on door tags. Once I hit OK, every door will be tagged automatically. Done. So that's a really cool tool. If you have 100 doors, none of them are tagged, hit tag all, doors, OK, every door is tagged. Now, of course, you're still going to have to go and make sure they're numbered correctly. And the reason I didn't align this door yet, again, I'm going to use the align tool. I just wanted to show you that the tag will go with the door. So the tag moves as well. It knows its position in the door. Now I'm going to show you the lock. Just like we could have locked this over here and I chose not to. I'm going to lock these two together just to show you that those two are now locked, aligned, center to center. First I aligned it and then I hit the lock. So if I was to move either one of these doors, the other door will go with it automatically. So if I always want these doors to be across from each other, now they are, and they always will be. I don't tend to lock things a lot, only when I need to. It'll drive you crazy if you try to move something and you get constraint errors because they're locked and you forget you locked them. So use it sparingly, but it can be done if you have windows, opposite wall windows that you always want to be across from each other. Just lock them. That way if you move one window, the other one will always be aligned with it. You don't have to worry about rechecking it. So there's the align. Let's go ahead and put a front door in, and I can't remember if I showed you how to load doors, or not just doors, but any family. I'm going to take the tag on placement off this time, and right here you've got load family. Now this is going to always want you to load doors because I'm in the door mode. If I was to just come to insert, there's also a load family there and a load as a group. So there's a couple ways to do it, but since I know it's going to be a door, I'm just going to go ahead and load family. It's going to open up the US Imperial library. If that's what you've got loaded, you might have a metric library loaded, Danish, whatever, wherever you're at. This is my default. I'm going to go to doors, and I want to put a double glass 2-door in front. I'm going to go ahead and do a double door up front, and just hit open. And you can see it's loading that family. So now I've got all these doors and I've added this door to it as well. So I want to go ahead and do the 72 by 84 and I'm going to stick it in the wall. And there it is. And again, I know this is the center of my room or of my building, and I want to align the door to the center. So since I've got my reference planes already, there you go, I'm aligned. It's in the middle. And that is where I want my door. Now one more thing I want to show you, and I've already done the dimension with the equals. All temporary dimensions have this little dimension mark underneath them. If I was to hit that, now those dimensions are permanent. So I'm going to do that again. If you have a temporary dimension and you like those dimensions and that's what you're going to dimension to from the center of the wall, or even if you don't want the center of the wall, you can make it to the outside of the wall. And you can grab that little blue dot, hover over the outside, hit tab. 12 foot, 12 foot, if that's the dimensions I want, boom, now it's a permanent dimension. And then once I do that, I can even drag it down here if I want to. And notice the temporary dimensions, permanent dimensions can also be temporary dimensions. So sometimes if you don't have the correct temporary dimension, or if it's really jumbled up, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this. I can go ahead and do a permanent dimension from somewhere to somewhere, and then when I select that object, that turns into a temporary dimension that can be edited. I can make that 14 feet and it's still a permanent dimension. So anything that turns blue can be edited. Of course, that's my regular temporary dimension. There's the one that I did. So there's a bunch of different ways to use temporary dimensions and to maneuver your stuff inside your model. So that takes care of putting in some doors. On the next tutorial, we'll put in a few windows, and you'll notice any doors, windows, openings, putting in a family is, you can notice it's pretty much the same. It's not a whole lot of difference between putting in a door or a window. You just pick a door and put it in, pick a window and put it in. It's pretty basic, and that's the great thing about Revit. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next tutorial. Thank you.